Welcome to the slightly earlier than normal live stream. Hello everyone, can you hear me? Can you, Heard a meow. I don't know what that's about. I should be live, but I don't actually see that. Oh, there I am. Okay, good. I was like, am I streaming to the right place? Did I do something wrong? It's like, oh no, everything against me. But we did it. We're connected. We're live. Hi everyone. That took like a minute. I was like, I don't know what something's going on with YouTube, but hi everyone. Happy Friday. We are here a little bit early, so that way I can make it on time to dinner. So thank you for humoring me changing the time on everyone, but I hope that we're doing it a little bit earlier and that allows some people that normally can't watch the live stream or all of it, or people that stay up to watch it, which thank you. You can go to bed a little bit earlier now. But yeah. Okay, my dog was here and then I opened my door and then she left. So hopefully she'll come back. So for right now, I will have, she'll come back up. She knows the routine, but she'll be back. So today we're actually going to be doing something similar to last Friday because weirdly enough, this doesn't normally happen. I normally do not schedule date thingies for Friday or for Monday. Like I try to keep it all very quarantined, but it just happened that this month for some reason no one was available on my usual days that I'm more free, and so I am meeting up with somebody that I could not celebrate my birthday with tonight, so we're here a little bit early to do that. And I'm gonna do a makeup look. I was sort of thinking, because I got more of the lipsticks that I talked about last time. I had two of these before, and they're the Maybelline, this is a long name, Maybelline Vinyl, wait, no, it's not it. That's the whole, Maybelline New York Superstay Vinyl Ink Lipsticks. And I got some new colors, and I thought I wanted to do maybe like a really pale nude eye and like a dark red lip, because I feel like that looks really nice. I don't really do that look on camera a whole lot, just because I feel like it doesn't pick up on camera like very well without like washing out my whole face. So I thought we could do that, and that could be a fun look, and then we can talk about kinky things, and it'll be something for everyone, hopefully. Yes, please do not be weird. That's really the thing, is like, hey, you can be like, hey, the makeup looks nice, or I like your outfit, or something like that, but please do not, I'm not gonna date you. Okay. It's like the one thing. Okay, where do I want to put this where it'll be not, there we go, that's perfect. Because I can see it and you guys can't see it at all. And I can see my whole computer screen still, so awesome. Okay, yeah, how's everyone been doing? What is going on? Hello. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we will also be doing a Q&A. So I guess before I get into doing any like makeup things or anything else, I will just like quickly go through the usual spiel that people who are here on Fridays usually already know about. But if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Evie Lupine. We do these streams every Friday, usually at 6, but today at 5:30. And we talk about kink, BDSM, asexuality, queer stuff, relationships, dating, internet culture, pop culture news, that kind of whole wheelhouse of different things. And you guys come in and you ask questions and I answer them, and we talk about whatever is on our minds. We have a really wonderful little community here, so we get a lot of back and forth responses from other members of the community. So if you have a question that I can't answer, maybe somebody else in the chat can answer, which is great, and I love that we have that as a resource. And really, the only things you need to know besides that are I answer questions in the order they come in. So please don't spam the chat like 5 times in a row with the same question. Like bigger live streamers with like, 10,000 concurrent viewers that are like constantly getting questions and like comments all the time, like just in waves. You don't have to do that. Just do it once, and then if it's been like half an hour and I haven't answered it, you can re-ask it, because I might have missed it. If you really want to make sure your question gets highlighted, 2 options for you. If you want to make sure I see it in just the regular chat, you can use the question mark emoji, and that'll highlight it for me. And then if you want to use a super chat, you can either do that directly through YouTube, or you can go to Streamlabs down below and donate through there. It'll pop up on screen over here somewhere. It'll read it out. It'll be very cute, and then I'll answer that one right away. But otherwise, I go just in order to keep everything fair to everyone. And then 18 plus only. As always, I am definitely an adult, and I don't believe in mixing kink and dating advice and minors and adults all together in one space. That's not a good idea, so we don't do it. But I would love to have you back when you are 18, so please just like wait around. You're welcome back when you turn 18, but until then, please do not interact, because it is for everyone's safety, my safety, your safety, everyone's safety. And then also just read the rules. There's lots of resources in the rules for more common questions, like what is BDSM, what books do you recommend, like that kind of thing. Those are down below. And then just in general, I don't answer questions about like how to do edge play stuff, like how to choke somebody, how to draw blood, how to drink blood, how to torture somebody's dick. I'm gonna get into that here. And I think that's basically what I wanted to say. Oh, and then like no medical or mental health advice. So if you're wondering about a bruise you got last week, or if you can do BPD, you can do BDSM while having BPD or whatever else. I'm not an expert. I don't know your particular situation or your trauma or anything like that, so I can't really help with that. But I can point you towards resources, which would largely be with the National Coalition for Sexual Freedom. They have an amazing website where they give you lots of ways to access kink-aware professionals. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. There you go. It's a great example. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm actually going to... I gotta get my headphones set up here. I actually need to grab my water bottle. So I will grab my water bottle. I will retrieve the doggo. And then we will get into questions and getting ready. And then we will be going until 7:30 instead of 8. So we'll be doing the usual 2 hours. Nothing's different about that. But we're just going to be leaving a little bit early, just to make sure I have enough time to get through traffic and all of the usual city business that is involved with traveling on Friday night. So BRB real quick, and we will get into it. So don't go anywhere. All right, hi, we're back. Okay, so we're back. Doggo is here. Just get my mirror out of the way for a second so I can get... There she is. Hi, sweetheart. You want to go lay down? She has joined us for the stream. All right, so let's see what's going on. I'm not going to start doing makeup right away, but maybe we'll do like a couple questions and then we'll get into doing some makeup. Okay, good question. How do you deal with DOMs wanting more than you can give? Let me introduce myself. I'm a lifelong sub. My name is Kali. I do pet play, and I'm a black cat. I've been following your channel for a long time. Yeah, sure. So I think it's sort of an interesting problem because I feel like with my experience in the kink community, it's much more common for submissives to want to go farther than doms do. I think the stereotype is certainly that people that are dominant want to go farther, and they're gonna like take whatever they can get out of a partner, and like, you know, their limits are only as far as the sub wants to go, and they don't really have any boundaries besides that. But I think it is also possible in the kink community, the reality tends to be more that the submissive tends to want to go farther and like want to go deeper than the dom is comfortable with, because there's a lot more to unpack with being a dom, especially a sadistic one, about like causing people pain and like being a bad person, and that can all be very difficult. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Love that. I do not do the trend on TikTok where it's like, hello, welcome. I think I'd be pretty good at it, but it's not like not my thing. I'm not on TikTok, so I can't even do the trend anyways, but it's a fun idea. That actually would be like maybe a fun subject for a video, is like maybe, because I've been wanting to redo my video on dollification for a while, and I feel like maybe that's a good example for like sort of like a way to get into dollification, is like that sort of, I don't even know what to call it, because it's not really like, I mean, I guess the idea is it's sort of like acting like an anime character NPC from a video game, where it's like, hi, hello, what do you need today? That's great. Like, it's very like very short and like clipped, and it's, you know, it's like recorded dialogue from a video game. So that's like a fun, maybe I'll think about that, because actually be a really good sort of like, here's an example of how that can work, or like, I don't know, like, you guys can see what I'm saying, right? Where it's connected to something that's like happening on social media, and it's like our kinks are not always as far away from our everyday lives as we might imagine sometimes, because oftentimes if there's money involved, they end up becoming quite close. But okay, so that is a great one. So let me get, sorry, I got like sidetracked about the dollification. Let me get back to this one, which is like, how do you deal with doms wanting more than you can give? I think in as much as you can, it's always better to negotiate early on for where your limits are. Like, basically, as soon as you're thinking about having a DS relationship, or like having any like a scene or anything with a person, you have to be very clear about like, these are the things that I'm okay with, this is stuff I'd want to talk about, and this is stuff I'm not okay with, right? It's oftentimes called like a yes, no, maybe checklist, or some other kind of negotiation where you go through and you are able to evaluate everything that you are saying yes to and everything you're saying no to. And I think if you haven't done that, that's a really good tool to use. And I think ultimately you have to stay true to yourself. It's very tempting, especially for us folk that are more submissive oriented, to want to compromise and give in and make other people happy, make a good impression, like act the way that a submissive is supposed to act, and therefore compromise on our own values, our safety, our well-being, our sense of security. And you know, with the experienced partner in a longer term relationship, certainly I think there's more room for experimentation and trying new things, and maybe beginning to push at some boundaries, and push at things where you are actively saying, I want to grow here, can you help me grow in this area, because like right now I'm not where I want to be at, and I want you to be able to help me get there. But really, I think the key thing is to know in and of yourself what you're comfortable with. Make sure to communicate that clearly to a partner, and this goes both ways for dom, sub, switch, anyone, any orientation at all. And then if somebody is trying to, because I don't know exactly what the conversations are like, if it's sort of like, this is really important to me and I really, really want to do this, or if they're like, if it's that direction of like, it's super important to me, like kind of guilting you about it, or if it's more shaming, like, you know, if you're a real submissive, you should be able to do this, like whatever direction it is, you have to be a broken record about where your comfort level is, right? Like if you just don't want to do something, and this is definitely more like vanilla advice. I think, like, but you can definitely apply it to a power exchange dynamic or to any kind of kink setting where if something is a limit for you and you don't want to do it and you're not comfortable doing it and somebody is continually asking you to compromise on that, to please do it, to please try, you just have to say, I'm going to make some assumptions about a potential dynamic here. I might say something like, sorry, sir, I can't do that. Sorry, sir, I can't do that. Sorry, sir, I can't do that. Like, just don't hem and haw and go, well, maybe, but, or, well, I don't really want to, but if it's important to you, like, it's so important as a submissive, anyone really, but especially for a submissive, to maintain your boundaries and be firm about them. And if you have somebody that's your partner that supposedly cares about you and wants you to have fun and have a good time, if they are continually going up to you and asking you to compromise and to renege on your stated boundaries, that's a really big red flag, and they're probably not a safe person to do kink with because they're always going to keep doing it. That's what I found with people that are like prone to pushing boundaries. They don't ever just do it for one thing, and they don't ever just stop as soon as you compromise. Like, it's not that they push over one thing over and over and over again, and then once you've... Is something wrong with that camera? The last, 2 times I've had it plugged in, it'll glitch out, and I don't think it's that it's too hot, because actually it's pretty cool in this room right now. Let's keep an eye on that, just see if it changes at all. But, I found that people that are they really, really want you to compromise on boundaries, they're just gonna keep doing it. Like, if they're just begging you and begging you and begging you to do a genital torture scene, they're gonna keep. It's not gonna stop with that, right? They're gonna be like, oh great, they're willing to compromise on this to do something that makes me happy. So now I can also ask them about the permanent chastity and the blood play and the head shaving and the this and this, just on and on and on. And then they're gonna just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing because they realize they can play this game. Oh my god, my dog's being so cute right now. Every day I look at her and she's so cute, and I just do this. Look at my dog like this. I just put a heart around her and just look at her through the heart like it's a picture frame. Information about my life. But you have to be very careful because I find that people who are boundary pushers, they're lifelong boundary pushers. That is their communication style. That is how they conduct themselves in personal relationships, is they just push. And it's something to be wary of. And if you don't feel comfortable, I think honestly, if you have any hope of making somebody who's like this better, you have to very directly be able to tell them, stop pushing my boundaries. You're not going to be able to keep seeing me. We're not going to keep dating. We're not going to lay it on the line and be like, you can't keep pushing boundaries. If you keep trying to get me to say yes when I've said no, I don't feel safe. I can't keep being here. And it maybe could be the case that no one has ever directly said that in their life before. And that could be a wake-up call for somebody that is otherwise a well-meaning, kind person to snap out of it and be like, oh god, that's my behavior? I don't want to act like that. I just was... Because people get so wrapped up in making sure they get what makes them happy or feel good, they might not even be thinking about the fact that you don't really want to do it because they're trying to wait for you to get to a yes, right? Because in their mind, it's okay because you said yes, right? Ultimately, eventually, you said yes. You said fine. You said okay. And so, therefore, all of the boundary pushing and the limit violations and the changing negotiations mid-scene was okay because, well, you did actually say yes. But really, it's the behavior to get to the yes that's the problem, right? Just because you can get to a yes through many means, and just obtaining the yes by itself does not mean that what happened to get there was okay or normal or typical. And I'm really learning, the more people I talk to in the scene that are meeting people through dating apps now, because it used to be, it's time to start putting on your makeup, maybe. I'm gonna talk about this because my brain's on it, and then we're gonna do makeup, because this makeup look isn't gonna take me very long. So, no, you're not doing anything wrong. Yes, don't panic. I will do the makeup. I just like, it's not going to take me 2 hours to do makeup, so I'm trying to like spread it out a little bit throughout the stream. But I would love to know y'all's thoughts about this, because I have a video coming out soon that's about like dating tips for meeting kinky people. And I have realized, I would say in the last couple of years, where it seemed like, you know, when I was in the community 6-7 years ago, pre-COVID, a lot of people were meeting kinky people through events in person, munches, classes, discussion groups, dungeon nights, play parties, things like that. Like, they were mostly meeting other kinky people through community events. But because of how much everything has shifted online because of COVID, now a lot of people are meeting through like Discord chats or dating apps. And I'm hearing a lot more stories that are very concerning about like the types of interactions people are having on dating apps. So I almost want to do a video where I talk about like maybe horror, like online dating horror stories, or like kink dating horror stories. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But for right now, I'd love to know your thoughts about like dating as a kinky person online, just kind of in a general sense. Yes, Twixie, thank you. Set limits/boundaries and stick to them. That is the only way they learn. Yes, you have to be. That's why I say be a broken record. This is something I've really learned in the last, like, I'd say couple months. And it would have been so helpful earlier on in my kink career, because I have always been a submissive. As like my primary mode of being in the kink world is like everything else I do, like the submission is at the core of it. And so I was encouraged and sort of taught by other people in the scene, like, that as a submissive, like, I like compromise is everything. All relationships are compromise. You know, you want to make your partner happy. You need to push yourself as a submissive, because that's part of what true submission is. And so I was much more willing, you know, 5 years ago to push myself to say okay to things that I wasn't really okay with. And it led to some scenarios that ultimately I think did me more harm than good. And I really don't want you all to go through that. I really want you all to be able to have better relationships and have better connections with people where you're feeling seen and heard, even as a submissive, because I think it is always a two-way street. I don't really believe in sentiments like the submissives have all the power. Like, I think it's a cute idea, but maybe not entirely accurate. But at the same time, you do have a level of power, and you have to, before you give up your control, before you give up your own autonomy or authority, try to combine both those words there for some reason. But before you let somebody into those walls, before you let somebody into that inner garden of deep personal like gushiness, you got to make sure that you're putting up firm boundaries for like, only people that respect me here get to get into here. Right? And it's so tempting, especially as a newer submissive that maybe hasn't had partners before, or you think you have some kind of magical kink connection that you'll never have with anyone else ever, to like let someone into here where they haven't really gotten like past the gate yet, really, if you stop and think about it. So just be very cautious, be aware, and I promise that it is, I'm not saying to like test people or like do any kind of like mind game, like if your dom doesn't let you do this and they're a bad, like don't do, like just be very direct. This isn't like you try to backdoor your way into figuring out somebody's personality or intentions. Just be open, be honest, and like more than anything, listen to people when they tell you who they are. If somebody is repeatedly pushing your boundaries, not respecting your consent, telling you that real submissives do blah, 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 or if you're a real true sub, you would be willing to do this, or what about me, what about me? Like, if somebody is repeatedly telling you that their focus is solely on their own pleasure, dom or sub, that is a red flag that needs to be paid attention to. So I am focusing kind of in doms in that answer because of the nature of the question and how it was asked, but please just do beware that for most things that I say, it goes across the gender spectrum, it goes across the identity spectrum, dom, sub, switch, anything. Anyone can be guilty of this, but I find that the techniques for how people do that boundary pushing or not listening or like just self-centeredness is a little bit different depending on somebody's individual label. Okay, great start. Okay, so I am going to start doing some makeup here. We did this last time, so just for people that came in recently, I'm doing a makeup look right now, going to see another person that I could not see for my birthday tonight, and they were only available on Friday this week, so we're doing it today because you make room for the people you care about in your life. So that's what we're doing a very, like, for me, like, compared to my filming makeup look, a relatively simple makeup look, doing sort of a light nude eye and then probably a dark red lip. And I'm so excited because I finally own a strapless bra that fits. So I can finally wear a bunch more dresses and shirts that have been in my closet for like 2 years that I've not been able to wear because I don't own a strapless bra. But now I do. So the world and fashion is my oyster. Well, we're just starting with a primer all over. I know that some people are very into like spot using primers, but I just feel like it works to use them all over. This is just the mini size of, excuse me, the Veil Mineral Primer Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 15. The pump on this is broken. I really need to buy a new one, but it's expensive, so I haven't done it yet. But I do really enjoy. This is a good primer, and I think it works really well with my foundation. I really love this and I haven't finished editing this yet, but I really need to. I'm doing I have another video I've done where I do like a dungeon makeup look, and this is my favorite foundation for dungeon looks, hot weather. It is very transfer resistant. It's not transfer proof. It will transfer onto like if you wear a mask or like, you know, if you're really rubbing your face against something, it will come off. But this is a really, really good makeup. Lots of shades, and it sticks really good on your skin. I think it works really well, especially with this primer for my skin. But always keep in mind with anything with makeup, everyone's skin texture, everyone's oiliness, acne proneness, dryness, maturity of the skin, relative humidity level of where you live, the weather you're going to be in, all of that affects how well makeup is going to sit on your face and if it works for you or not. So just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And just because something works for you doesn't mean it'll work for me. And that is a-okay. So I have a little bit of an angry spot here, which is like my skin is so much more clear than it was like fucking a month ago, like 2 months ago. I really went through the ringer with a very, very bad bout of hormonal acne for like more than half a year, like probably like 7-8 months. I had really, really bad hormonal acne, and I'm finally getting it under control. And I'm going to be having a video where I talk about why, because birth control is just weird like that, I guess. I've just been on an adventure with my whole body this year, I swear to God. But that is what this age of being is about, I guess. So we're basically back to like how my skin would normally be. For a while there, it was real bad. You can look at my videos and you can definitely tell where I have like raised spots on my skin even under the makeup. But I find that this just looks, it's definitely more of a matte foundation. Like, it ends up, like, I think it can be very luminous on camera, but I feel like when I'm in person and I'm not under bright lights, it's not quite as luminous as maybe it looks. But I really like it as a foundation. So, I really like using it with the brush. I can't speak to how it works with fingertips or other things, and it just, my forehead looks great. It's just, we are back to normal skin times, and I'm excited about that. Because I like not having massive skin problems before I go out to go see important people in my life. Which is good. Alright, so I'm going to let that kind of, I like to let it rest for a little bit, and then I'll do my concealer. I should have grabbed a paper towel to wipe off the foundation from my lips, but I will actually, as a secondary solution for that, I will put on my favorite, my only plumping lip gloss, which is the Dior, I don't even know what the heck this is called. It's whatever they're plumping. Dior Lip Maximizer Lip Addict. Some combination of those words. And I really wanted to get another one of these because they're really nice. But they're so freaking expensive. I would just like one. It's a really good, like, my lips but better color, and I just stick with that, and it's a really good prep before other lip products. It's one of the only lip products I own more than one of because I keep one here and I keep one in my purse. So alright, so that seems like a good place to look at some more questions during. Okay, so let's see here. Can I see? There we go. All right, more questions. Okay, so great first start. I don't have a question. Just wanted to say hello from New York and thank you for the video on color blindness. You're very welcome, Ryan. And hello in New York. And thank you for being here. It's what is so funny to me about that video is the number of people that thought I said and thought the title was and the thumbnail was color blindness. I had no intention of that video getting a larger audience. I did not make up the name in order to take advantage of the algorithm or like people mishearing it or misreading it. It was fascinating how many people like saw that and like, oh, I thought you said like every one of the new comments now is somebody telling me that they thought it was that they thought I said color blindness, which is just like I didn't even pick the name. I didn't go for that. It just happened. But it was very informational. I'm glad you've got another day, Evie. I'm getting ready myself dancing around to the Barbie soundtrack. I am not doing, and this is not me trying to be like an edgy girl, but I'm not doing the Barbieheimer thing. I would definitely watch both movies. It's like the Barbieheimer phenomena is, it reminds me of, you know the memes where it's like, I don't know, like Marceline and the Bubblegum Princess from Adventure Time? Like being together, and it's like you have the one girlfriend who wears all black and then the one girlfriend who wears all pink and they hang out together. Like that's the vibe I get from Barbieheimer, is it's like that phenomena but for movies. And like from what I can tell, they're both really good movies. Like definitely Oppenheimer is like more the type of movie I'd probably be more likely to watch because I really like documentaries and like historical stuff. So I'd be probably more likely to watch that one, but honestly I feel like Barbie's probably going to be a surprising movie. Probably going to be pretty good, but I'm not going to see it this weekend because I just don't like going to movie theaters. I get really bad anxiety being in movie theaters, honestly, these days. I just can't handle being in one, so I don't really like to go to them. But I'll probably watch it like when it's a little bit more. I actually don't know. Like honestly, this could be a thing where it's like packed movie theaters for like weeks afterwards for all I know. Okay, so that is our base completed. I'm going to wait and kind of see how that one will just stay happy the way that it is, but this is the foundation and it just so good. Such a good foundation. I'm not one of those people where I have to have like 50 foundations. I have this one and then I have a skin tint and that's like all I need. So fits all of my use cases for foundation. Also, I feel like going to see the Barbie movie would be like a really great like middle or little date night activity, just because it is like it's Barbie, and so you know it is something that lots of littles and middles are into, but also it's like an adult movie, so it's not like you're like the only adults watching a kids movie either. I feel like it's like the perfect mix of both worlds for that. So if you're a little or a middle and you've been thinking about a date night activity, why not go see Barbie? And then maybe go see Oppenheimer to humor your daddy / caregiver / mommy if they like historical movies. Just it always sneaks in there, doesn't it? You heard the nuke scene was disappointing? I mean, yeah, maybe. I want to watch Oppenheimer, but I don't think I could psychologically handle the subject matter. I think that's fair. That's probably fair. The thing is, it's really long. I don't know if I could say, like, I don't like movies that are longer than like 2 hours. I don't like having to sit for that long. I don't like having to, like, I just don't like generally like most movies enough to be like, I want to sit and only focus on this for 3 hours out of my waking day. Like, I want to be out in the yard. I want to be folding laundry. I want to be doing like, I like to do things, you know? So like a TV show or a podcast, I can pop my headphones in and like, you know, flit around the house and do whatever I want. But the movie, I have to sit, I have to pay attention for that long, and I can't multitask and make the most out of my day. I just can't be me. This cannot be me. I didn't even think about Barbie as a little thing, but that's such a good idea. Well, I am happy to give the suggestion, just in case it wasn't obvious. Oh, we're going to see the Barbie movie for our birthday day. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. I hope you're wearing like a Barbie outfit, or like a pink outfit at least. I say our birthday date because our birthday's literally one day apart. I mean, that sounds like fate to me. That definitely sounds like fate. One day apart? That's wild. I have an in-law they're like born like within a week of their spouse, and even that to me is like literally the same year within a week of each other, and that's like wild to me because I always date people that are like at least 5 years older than me. So somebody who's like a week older is like, how is that possible? How do you even meet somebody that's that close in age just by happenstance? I don't just, how is that possible anymore? I mean, it's more possible when you're in college, when you're all like basically the same age, but when you're an adult and you've been in the world for a while, it's a little bit more difficult. Oh no, don't sneak into BDSM clubs. That's very not in today's day and age especially. I know people did that like in the 80s and 90s, but please don't do it now because you know how bad it would be if like a kink community event got permanently shut down because one 17-year-old just couldn't wait 6 months to be able to go to a BDSM party legally. Like, come on. Think about people other than yourself, which I realize is asking a lot of teenagers because our brains are not developed in that way necessarily yet, but yeah. Oh, that's so sweet! My daddy just bought us a house. My Pomeranian will finally have a backyard. I am so happy for you and for your Pomeranian. Bandita's life is so much better now that we are renting a house that has a yard. Like, it is so much better for her. She loves it so much. She's in the yard all the time. She gets all the sun she wants. She gets all the squirrels she could ever handle. Just so much better for her quality of life. And honestly, for my quality of life, because I love being in the backyard. Especially in the summertime around here. I feel that my boyfriend streams is sometimes people will spam the chat over and over again with what's your favorite Greek god. Is it like a meme? Is it like a thing that people meme about? I don't... If I answered this before, I feel like my favorite Greek god is Hecate. I feel like I've said that before, but if I haven't yet, that's I'm like big into Hecate and Hestia. Those are my two favorites. I don't remember which one's the Greek versus the Roman name, but whatever those ones correspond to, those ones are my two favorite. My top two, my Greek god ride or dies, for sure. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you are in a mood, but hopefully being here, you will have some camaraderie and you'll have a little bit of time to get off of your mood and just have your brain focus on something else. Oh yeah, I forgot what music I do for the waiting screen. I was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, I think that's a Birthday Massacre song if I remember correctly, which means the stream's probably gonna end up being claimed because I keep forgetting that song gets claimed now and I have to not use it anymore, but then I don't change it because I never use the waiting screen. Is there a manipulative behavior pattern name for someone treating you more like a child the more you act like an adult? I mean, I guess that exact dynamic of like you become more adult, they like, I don't think that exact flavor of it has a discrete word, but I think in general that sounds like infantilization. Like that sounds like infantilizing your partner and treating them like a child. And I will make jokes about this with people sometimes in my life if they're into like childy things. Like if they're really into like, I don't know, Otter Pops or like watching the same TV show over and over again, or you know, whatever. So they like get things that's like a made for a kid, you know, where it's clearly not meant for, you know, an adult to use. I will definitely like get on them for that. I'll be like, oh, you got the sippy cup, good for you. Like I'll kind of like in a way that's okay for the, you know, the dynamic that we have with each other. I will make fun of them, but like legitimately being like, you know, you're acting like a child, you are being like a child because you're trying to do more adult things, like maybe setting a boundary or communicating that you don't want to do something or whatever. Like, yeah, no, that's not okay. And I think people, like, I imagine the mentality of somebody who does something like that is they do it because they want to maintain the position of authority and control that they have or that they wish they could have. And so the only way they can do that is by belittling you and convincing you that you are also acting like a child because they don't like what you're doing, because it probably gets in the way of them doing whatever they want to do. All right, so that's my face makeup. I just like very quick little, I don't even think I grabbed my contour. So we maybe do like a powder contour with my eyeshadow. I don't know. I really thought that far ahead. This is the Moonlighter. This is the only highlighter I use. It is from, what is it called? It's Squid. This is, I don't remember what brand this is. I want to say it's Night Moon Cosmetics. And then this is just, I got this when I was in Canada. I just didn't have a blush, and so I just got this, and it was great. It's like the perfect color for me. Okay, where is the Squid? Let's see. Oh, it just popped up. I just saw it. Yes, it is Black Moon Cosmetics. I've had this one for, years at this point. I'll just show you guys how much I've actually used of it, because I use this every time I film. I've actually hit pan on it because I use it so much, but it's a really good, just sort of, it's got silver and gold in it, so it's a really good, like, multi-purpose pale person highlighter. So I like it for that reason. And the Zoomers can pry the highlighter out of my cold dead hands. So there you go. Actually, I do kind of want to try the little, like, putting a little bit of blush over your nose look. Because I haven't, like, done that before. I'm kind of, like, wondering how that would look. Because it's probably all going to get smeared off my face anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, I think I like that. I think that's, doesn't make too big of a difference. I just don't believe in, like, contouring my nose or anything like that. I just feel like that doesn't turn out good, but, you know, this, I can get behind this, I guess. Okay. Setting spray. This is a random one I'm trying. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I haven't really noticed a big difference with this compared to any other setting spray. The only one that I think I've really noticed a difference with ever is the Urban Decay, wherever the one in the black bottle is. It's one of the all-nighter sprays, but there's like 6 of them now, and they've discontinued a bunch of them too, so who knows. This one has like a very strong smell to it. I feel like it's very wet going on. Like I end up looking like crazy dewy when I put this on, and I don't think I like that, so I usually end up kind of like going over it again with my brush a little bit, kind of just like, you know, tamping down the setting spray. But we're testing it out just to see if it ever ends up making a difference, because you never know until you try it. But yeah, this is otherwise like pretty much the look, pretty much the vibe. Okay, so that is the base makeup. That's what we're doing. Let's answer some more questions. So I don't know if I fully answered the one about like infantilization, but that's like basically what I would call it. And it's shitty, and it's like good that you're recognizing it's happening, but I think it happens when people try to maintain unearned authority, and it's unfortunate. A lot of subs want 24/7, but for a dom that is exhausting, my opinion anyway. Yes, that is very true. There's sort of 2 things I see subs and bottoms ask for that doms are not equipped to do. And one of them is definitely 24/7 relationships, and not even that, but like demanding attention 24/7, which is not the same thing. Like a lot of people will get confused and they think, 24/7 means that my dom. So like, I haven't ever had to stop and clarify this, but now I've heard enough things, or like maybe I do. So a 24/7 relationship doesn't mean that your dom has to pay attention to you 24/7. It means that they're not an on-call emotional assistant. They are a human being with their own life besides you, and they get to live their own way in their own time. And hopefully that will include you in a way that, you know, makes you happy. But 24/7 means the power exchange is always on. It's sort of a vernacular phrase. It's not literal. It doesn't mean that your dom is always doming you 24/7, because that would be exhausting. And literally, when would you be able to sleep? If you're doming someone while they sleep, how could you sleep? How would that work? Exactly. So that is a good thing to know about being 24/7. It's not literally like always on. But the other thing that I hear a lot of subs ask for that doms really aren't ready for is like they want to go heavier with the masochism, either because they feel like they're at their limit for what they can actually deliver for masochism, where it's like, I can't really like spank you any harder. This is as hard as it gets. Or it's their comfort level where if they wanted to deliver more pain, they'd have to get like more like serious or scary implements, and that can be really intimidating for people to use on someone else and to feel like your partner needs that. It can bring up feelings of like, I'm not satisfying my partner, so they need more in order to feel satisfied. That can cause people to feel inadequate or bad about themselves. It can just like, it's a whole stew of feelings that could go into those kinds of requests. Whereas, you know, it's not that that's like the worst thing ever and it's bad for a sub to ask for more pain or a 24/7 relationship or more scenes or to play for harder or longer. That's all perfectly fine. I think that if you compare that to sort of maybe the pressure that doms exert on submissives, like I think it's not quite as bad, because I think a dom has more ability to like say no and be like, we're not doing that, and you know, be heard, hopefully. Whereas a submissive, I think there's more, at least as a community, I think there's more pressure to be like, well, if you're a good sub, you're going to listen to what your dom says. If you're a good sub, you're going to, you know, that. And I don't think that that's good. I don't think that that, you know, like that external pressure from people outside the relationship, like I don't think that ever really does anything for people. I think that just causes confusion more than anything else. Oh, good. Meant to say, upon your recommendation, I bought a plug that you reviewed. Well, I am glad that that recommendation helped. I think I probably know the one that you're talking about. I don't know if I can mention it out loud in the live stream, but I'm glad that you liked the recommendation. It has continued to serve me well. I will just say that. The NPC fetish stuff on TikTok, the content itself doesn't bother me, and I actually kind of like it. It's just that it's on a platform that's readily accessible to kids. Yes, that is, I think, the main problem. Okay, maybe I'll write that down in my notes. Is it sort of there's, okay? Oh god, I have so many ideas for videos I want to make, and not enough time to film all of them. It's really the tragedy of my life. Okay, so I want to talk about like, and what's it called? NPC. I can't say the word fetish though. YouTube, this is what I found. YouTube, like if you say the word fetish in a video, in a title, in a thumbnail, if you even allude to the word fetish, it seemingly at this point, like it just automatically demonetized, age gated, like no video for you, no one's gonna see this, you know, blah, you know, going down the toilet, like no one's gonna notice it. So I can't say fetish. But maybe I'll say NPC trend / dollification. Because, okay, my phone does not know what the word dollification is, and it's fighting me about it wanting to turn it into something completely different. Okay, so there we go. I think that's actually a really good one. I think that'd be a really fun video. Okay, so you got that. NPC trend. Love it. Good stuff. I'm probably not going to get it out while it's still like completely topical because of how many other videos I already have like made and ready to like, you know, go live on YouTube. But I'll probably talk about it soon. I think my next videos I'm planning to film, just to like give you guys a little bit of a preview, the next videos I'm planning to film are going to be on human pets, because I have one video about it that's like nobody's seen it. Like it's one of those videos that for like some reason YouTube just like fully memory hold, and like no one knows I made it and no one can find it. So I'm making a new video on human pets, and also that old video is like 8 minutes long, and so like I can talk about that for way longer now. It's not going to be probably 30 minutes hopefully, but I'll longer than 8 minutes. I'll probably make it at least like maybe 15. Do a video on human pets, and then I'm going to be doing, just like coincidentally, I was not planning on like making a lot more polyamory content, but there's like 2 polyamory subjects I want to talk about, and they're sort of like opposite sides. I think one thing I want to talk about is like polyamory and cheating, and people that like excuse their cheating and lack of communication on like, but I'm discovering I'm poly. And then the opposite side of that, which I'll probably make first, which is people that say like, polyamory never lasts. Polyamory doesn't work. You know, no one stays polyamorous. Like random, like vanilla monogamous people being like, oh, no one stays polyamorous. It never works. And it's like, okay. Well, I mean, not that it's anyone's business, but most people I know that are polyamorous are married and have multiple long-term relationships. So, like, if everyone I know currently that's poly is married and has multiple other partnerships, and they've been married and have had multiple other partnerships for 5-10 years and they've been poly that entire time and everything's going swell, no signs of imminent divorce. Sounds like it's working out better than a lot of people's marriages normally are. And also, like, I think part of it, the nuance to that is not just saying, you know, polyamorous people never get divorced, or polyamory is healthy or can also last long term. It's also that, like, just getting divorced or not staying married or not being married at all, like, that's not necessarily a sign about the relationship and, like, the type of relationship that you're doing. Because, like, yeah, if you get married at 18 because your family is super religious and you're pressured into getting married to, like, your family's, like, you know, their best friend's kid, like, as soon as you're legally able to, and then you settle down and you have, like, 2 kids by 21, and you, like, you live your whole life on just this, you know, treadmill where your family puts you on there. And then at, like, 30, you finally get up the courage to, like, leave that marriage, leave that religion, or, like, maybe you open up the marriage first, you try to go about it in, like, a biblical way or, like, some shit, I don't know, and then you, like, you know, deconstruct and you move on from your previous, like, fundamental religious upbringing and you move on from that. Like, I would consider that a failure if, like, you eventually end up, like, divorcing your spouse because you were never really compatible in the first place. And a lot of people are pressured into marriage because their family pressures them to, or they want to have children, or they just feel like they should because of how long they've been dating that person for, whatever it is. And I feel like it shouldn't be shameful to either not get married at all, and it definitely shouldn't be shameful to get divorced when you've discovered something about yourself where that's not compatible with that marriage anymore. And if you discover after 5, 10, 15 years, you know, yes, it's painful and it's really bad to be with someone for a long period of time and then have it not, like, not work out forever, but not every relationship is meant to work out forever. I think I really like the philosophy of, like, as long as love shall last. Like, I don't think that it's as common as maybe people would like to believe for a marriage to last for 40, 50, 60 years, because people change so much and you're not the same person, hopefully, unless you've either really had things figured out at an early age or you are just stuck in sand as a person. You know, if you were, you know, at 20 and looking at who you are at 35, like, you're going to be a different person. You're going to have different values, you're going to have different wants. And so the person you decide to marry at 22, unless they grow with you in the same way, you're probably not going to have the same feelings about them at 35. And that could be okay still. It could still be positive. It could still be something you want to grow with. But pressuring people to just stay married and then be like, oh, your relationship was a failure and it didn't work because you didn't stay married. Like, you know, people move, and I think I would, in most cases, rather people decide not to stay together and move on and have healthier relationships with other people for as long as those are meant to last for, versus pressuring people that hate each other to stay together for 20 years. Like, it doesn't help anybody. Like, why would you want to be with somebody that you can't stand being around, who won't let you live the life you want to live, or, like, vice versa, right? The life you want to live deeply hurts them and makes them very uncomfortable, so neither one of you get what you want. I just don't feel like that's, you know, I think the reality is that oftentimes when you really look at it, what works for most people is, like, you know, you're together for 2, 5, however many years, and then you realize, hey, like, this isn't really where I want to be anymore. I don't really want to spend my time here anymore. It's great to be with you. No hard feelings. Let's move on and find other people that match, you know, who we are right now, as opposed to, like, having that constant, like, relationship gridlock because, oh, if we break up now, it means we failed, you know. And polyamory is certainly a self-discovery process, and I think it's not that poly makes relationships fail. It's that if you're starting from monogamy and then you get into polyamory, most times either you don't want the same kind of polyamory, right? One person wants, you know, the full commune, kitchen table, we're all dating 6 people polyamory, and the other person wants, like, closed polyfidelis, we date one other couple and, like, we date in kind of a square, you know, like that. Or, you know, one person wants very, like, you know, don't ask, don't tell, very, you know, you go out when you're on a business trip, I don't really know anything about it, we keep it that way. Other people want to be, like, completely open, living with multiple people, raising kids together, like, you could both still want to have an open relationship or be poly or be ethically non-monogamous of some flavor, but maybe not the same flavor. Or some people, I think maybe more often, they discover that one person is monogamous and one person is poly. And oftentimes, I would say, 4 out of every 5 cases, it's not gonna work out long term, because either the poly person is gonna feel like they can't really pursue what they want to pursue out of fear of hurting their partner, or the monogamous person is just like egoly destroyed, like, just, by their partner being poly, and they can never really be comfortable with it because it's not who they are. And to be in a poly relationship would be untrue to themselves, in the same way that, like, somebody who really, really wants to be poly having to be monogamous would be also being untrue to themselves. So anyways, like, poly rant for the time being. I just get really annoyed when I hear people basically say that, like, polyamory doesn't work, but they're like, either they have no sources for that whatsoever, or they have, like, one anecdote where, like, their high school best friend Annie, like, opened her marriage after 10 years, and then her husband left her for a younger woman. It's like, well, that's not really, like, most people's poly, but okay, sure. I guess we only need one example to prove something like that. Just a little ridiculous, honestly. I've been married for 35 years now, still working on communications and exploring adding a third now that our child is on her own. Yeah, I think also, like, you get into different phases in your life. You just explore new options, new things. Also, people say, like, just mean things about poly people being ugly, and it's like, people knew the people, like, I'm not gonna say anything about anything, but most of the poly people I know, they're not ugly. Like, maybe I'm ugly. Maybe I am a solid 6 out of 10. I will say that about myself. I'm, like, on a good day, a 6.5. But yeah, I am. I'm somewhere usually in the range of, like, maybe even say a 6 to a 7. But most poly people I know are, average attractiveness or better. Not that it's a contest, but people being like, poly people are all, like, fat old ladies that like cats. And it's also, like, first of all, lots of people find that attractive. You fucking narrow-minded piece of shit. Like, people that, like, oh, well, you can't be attractive because you're an overweight, non-binary person with 5 cats, and, you wear baggy clothing. And it's like, not everyone is a bleached, blonde Ohio mom of 2. Like, it's fine. It's okay. All right. I completely forgot that I wanted to trim my eyebrows, because I think I got some hairs in there. I think I got to get in there with my tweezers for a second. Got to do some grooming here. I have, like, my brow hairs on this side. They always grow way longer than this side, and so I have to trim just that little tiny bit of hair, because I plucked my eyebrows very badly as a teenager because I didn't know what I was doing, and it messed up the growth pattern for my eyebrows permanently. All right, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna... Anyone knows My Big Fat Greek Wedding? The one big one. Love that movie. Love it so much. It is like the opposite of... I'm not Greek. I'm like the opposite of Greek, but it's still very funny to me. Like, I don't know what that life is like at all, but... kind of glad I didn't, TBH. Nikki gonna be your godmother. It's like one of my favorite parts. Nikki gonna be your godmother. You ready to be baptized? That I can relate to as a Catholic. That's relatable. But we also don't do our services only in Latin anymore, so. Alright, so that is... I think I should maybe answer another question first. Oh, hi, baby. So cute. Okay, I really don't understand people on the internet. The latest trend is tipping real people to give out robotic-like responses. Okay, then. I know, it's like, it's strange, but I can, like, see how the trend developed. And it's like, you know what? It's harmless. It's a little weird, but, the whole concept of social media is weird. Live streaming is a weird concept. I feel like I can't, throw stones too much. Talk about BDSM for a living. Who am I to judge, honestly?
Rosie Rosette donated $5. Ever since discovering your channel, your Friday stream has made the closing of the store more fun for me, so thank you. Non-kink question. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Great question. And I'm glad that I could help you close your store. In the before times, but when I was still in college and I had minimum wage work and that was my thing, I was pretty much always a closer. So I feel you on that. That last 45 minutes of the day before you go home, where you're just praying no one else comes in the store. I feel you on that for sure. So I'm glad I can help with that. Because I listen, if I would have been allowed to wear headphones and listen to a podcast, it would have been a lot better for me mentally. So if I could be any animal, honestly, I really do like dogs, but I feel like dogs... Okay, don't listen to this part, Bandit. Dogs don't have, a very long lifespan. I think I'd be really sad about that. So, I want to say dog, but can I be a dog with a human lifespan? If I could be a dog that lives to be, 80, I think that would be really great, actually. I'm just a dog girl all the way through, okay? I've actually had this idea in my head of, I want to do a video about, I've seen, there's, honestly, I think there's kind of been a resurgence of pet play lately, which I'm, all on board for. I have a huge palette I'm using right now, by the way. This is a build-your-own palette with, really cool custom artwork on it. It is Baby Bat Beauty. It's their palette, and I just have a bunch of single shadows in here from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. It's, all my neutral shades, and, some random, shit I couldn't fit in, other things. So... that's mostly what this is for, but it's a giant palette. And I love it, but it's very inconvenient for travel. And I do love Give Me Glow Cosmetics. They're basically all of my eyeshadow I use every day is from there, but goddamn, you could have had smaller pans and I would have been fine with that, but the formula is so amazing, I can't really say no. Some of them do kick up powder a little bit, but honestly that's my fault for using a really fluffy brush for this job. So really it's on me, it's not on them. But yeah, I would definitely be a dog. That would be my deal. But I feel like there has been a resurgence of puppy play and pet play stuff recently. I've seen some really funny fucking tweets about I don't even remember what it was. It was something about help me, he locked me in a hot car. The puppy plays when locked in hot car. How do you feel? Oh, okay, this is a long one. How do you feel about an open relationship dynamic where one side is open, but the other side is closed voluntarily? What should the open side consider? Okay, great question. I think it's really good you're being mindful of that. I don't want to be too absolutist, because I think a lot of people will just say, monopoly doesn't ever work. If you're trying to be monogamous and polyamorous, it can't happen. Monopoly people are not meant to be together. I think where that really doesn't work is if you, fucking lie to somebody about being polyamorous on a dating app, where, you don't tell them until, after the first date that you're poly. Why would you even do that? There's so many people that want to have open relationships. Just date those people. Don't trick monogamous people into being into your bullshit. Come on now. I would say if you want to do that, if one side wants to be voluntarily closed and the other side wants to be open, and it's I don't want to date other people, because a lot of people that are polyamorous just don't get polyamory, and they're how could you ever want to not date more than one person if you had the opportunity? But some people are just not into that. And so I feel if you know that you or your partner, whoever it is, they really know, okay, I'm just monogamous, but I want to be with you, and so it's okay that you're dating, but I'm going to just not date because I don't really get anything out of that. I don't really want to do that. Perfectly reasonable and acceptable. What I would probably do in that case, this is too big of a palette. I'm gonna sit here so I can Morticia Adams myself with the mirror and the palette. I would probably say the number one thing you need to do is you have to be very, very clear about where the comfort level is. Are you okay with people spending the night? Are you okay with people sharing a bed? Are you okay with knowing the person that your other partner is dating? Do you ever want to know anything about them? Do you want to meet right away, after a while? What kinds of contact are you comfortable with? And I think this is when we get into problems with like the poly community being very, very resistant to like boundaries of any kind and like limitations. And like, I think it's, if your partner is okay with having limitations on their behavior, having limitations is fine. Just have to like advocate for yourself sufficiently, I think, more than anything. Okay, I think I found what color I want to use for this. And so I would think about, okay, I am comfortable with, or the monogamous party, whoever it is, like they're comfortable with, you know, I'm okay, you know, with you dating people so long as, you know, we get to do these activities in our relationship still, you know, we get to do our, you know, card game on Saturdays, we get to go to the farmer's market, like whatever you guys do together, those kind of core parts of the relationship are fucking, just got that all over my eyeball, are maintained. And I'm okay meeting the person as long as that's serious. Like, I don't want to know about everyone. Just let me know that you're dating somebody and what you're doing and getting tested. Just be very clear about where your boundaries are at, basically, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, testing. I don't know why I keep not being able to say testing. But just make sure you're being very clear about what you want. And you gotta, like, there's so much to consider in terms of, like, space sharing, information sharing, STI testing, you know, all of that stuff. And then, like, just being very attuned to, like, you know, I would start conservatively. I think that's, like, the number one thing is, like, take whatever you're saying you're going to be okay with and then dial that back by, like, 20%. So if you're starting from a place where you're like, oh, yeah, it's totally okay if somebody comes over and like hangs out. I mean, I don't want to be there when you guys are having sex, but if they come over, that's okay. You know, okay, well, like, don't have them come over on the second date. You know, have them come over on like the 5th date or the 6th date. You know, don't have sex right away. You know, navigate what that sex looks like and barrier usage and all of that stuff, and just like communication all the way around. And I think really it takes the monogamous person being very willing and able to work on a lot of like maybe jealousy feelings or insecurity things. I would really, really recommend having a good support system for this, preferably like some kind of therapist who works in that population and knows about polyamory, because I think a lot of mainstream, you know, typical therapists are not necessarily going to know a whole lot about it, just like the general population. And so just be aware of that. Okay, this is somehow darker than what it was on my upper eyelid, so I'm gonna like smudge that out a little bit. But yeah, hopefully that helps answer your question about like what to consider, because it's a lot basically. But you know, having a support network, having a system in place, and then, you know, I think for whoever the third party or whoever it ends up being, right, just make sure that they know that you're in a relationship with a monogamous person. Like, you know, you are going to be in a situation where there is a level of hierarchy. You are going to be in a situation where, like, your monogamous partner is going to be going through a lot of feelings, and a lot of people are not going to want to be around for that, frankly. But they should have the option to, you know, decide whether or not they want to be around for that. And if you don't tell them it's happening until you've been on a couple dates, that's not really going to be fair to them. All right, so that's the eyeshadow, I think, for now. What do you think? Okay. Good night. Thank you for hanging out. Okay, oh God, it's 6:30. Let's go. I'm a firm believer in renegotiating every couple months to see whether anything has changed in the dynamic over time. Yes, definitely. I'm a big believer in that too. I think like there's unless it's like a fetish thing for you where you really get off to like having a contract, I don't think there's any reason not to revisit it on a regular basis. What happens if your partner isn't into BDSM? If your partner isn't into BDSM, you can't make them be into BDSM. I know some people feel more comfortable with this than others. I'm going to actually stop for a second because my next step is eyeliner, and that takes me a hot minute. So I'm going to answer this one first. So Some people are very willing to compromise their own happiness, like we talked about at the beginning of the stream. And especially if you're in like a longer term, previously vanilla relationship with somebody and they really, really like you, they really want to be with you, they might be willing to compromise on like trying BDSM. And they might genuinely be willing to just try it, but to be very careful they're not overextending themselves and like committing to things they don't really want to do just for the sake of your own happiness. And I feel like if I'm with a vanilla person and they're not into kinky stuff, if I really pushed doing kink with them, I would always have a doubt in the back of my mind about whether they were just doing something to make me happy, and I would not be able to enjoy what I was doing. And if I did enjoy it, I would feel very bad about it because I'd always be wondering if they got anything out of it at all, if they were just putting on a face. And I wouldn't want to put somebody in that position. So I don't generally do kink with vanilla people, but I understand that depending on your life circumstances, you may have already made some relationship choices where it's very difficult to leave the relationship you're in and they're willing to try doing kink. But I think really you can make a vanilla person perform kink activities, but you can't ever actually turn them into being kinky. I think if they end up being kinky, what you've really done is helped a kinky person discover their kinky side and become comfortable with it, which I think is a different mentality from turning a vanilla person kinky. I'm sure there's people who will say that they were turned kinky by a partner when they were previously vanilla, but I think really it's probably more accurate to say that it's a process of discovering what your own kinks are and becoming comfortable with them, because we're not in a society generally where that kind of thing is okay to explore or even think about or acknowledge in a relationship. And if you need it, you're broken or bad or weird or deviant. And so people have a lot of baggage to work through in order to become comfortable with that. And they might say, I'm vanilla, I'm not into any of that. And then they get started doing it and they are into it. I think that's a different process from like, okay, dear, I'll spank you because you really want me to. And then they never really end up getting anything out of it. That's very different from somebody who says they're not into kink, tries it, and then discovers they are. So I've got to be very aware of what that difference is. And you can't, as I often say, you can't make a square peg fit into a round hole. And you can't make a vanilla person kinky. Because either they already are and don't know it yet, or they are vanilla and being made to do something they don't enjoy. Yes, you can definitely tell a lot from somebody's responses to your limits. Absolutely. There's one NPC fetish streamer named Pinky Doll who streams with her kids in running around in the background. That's a little weird. I mean, but it's not sexual though. So like, I feel like that's kind of the same level as bad as like, as far as I know, it's not sexual. Maybe it is, but that's like the same level as bad of like any family vlogger or YouTuber that has their kids unblurred in their videos. So like I don't agree with that, but I don't agree with it for the same reason I don't agree
Rosie
with, like,
Rosette donated $5. Oh, here's another question.
Here's another question.
What do you do if you like the idea of BDSM? But every time it was offered, you were kind of...
If you like the idea of BDSM,
I was feeling sad because I was worried I wasn't cut out for the BDSM life.
I was feeling sad because I was worried I wasn't cut out for the BDSM life, and I'd like to want to do it. I mean, I think it's worth investigating, like, what causes the eh. Like, I feel like the eh is, like, and this probably sounds like some therapy bullshit, but, like, what's the eh trying to tell you, right? Is it, like, when you think about the source of that meh or eh feeling, is that, like, hesitation about how much you're going to like it, the partner you're doing it with, the activity you're doing, the context you're doing it in, how sexual it ended up being or not, like, is it public, is it in private, is it a new relationship, an old relationship, do you feel kinky towards them? I think for me, if I'm feeling about doing a scene, it's usually for one of two reasons. I usually feel meh or about something if it's the person is wrong or the scene itself is wrong. Like, I might really want to do a bondage scene, but if it's the wrong person, I'm not really going to want to do it because I'm going to feel like, the vibe isn't right, the setting isn't right, I just don't feel that kind of connection to you. And I think oftentimes we can feel like we're not into BDSM because the person is wrong. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Options for fun and well. Thank you for the $10. Very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, so I think people, it can be the wrong person. And I think you have to, like, sometimes, especially with, like, long-term vanilla partners, I think we can have trouble, like, seeing our vanilla partner as a kinky partner because, you know, we've seen them as, like, our equal or whoever they are, you know, for so long. We don't have that, like, initial context in the same way that you have if you're, like, a kinky person and you're going to a dungeon and meeting somebody and you see them as kinky right away, if that makes sense. So kind of try to figure out what the F feeling is. And it could also be like just nervousness. It could be feeling like you're not ready for it. It's the wrong thing for you to be doing. And I think just like wait for that setting to be right. Wait for that moment to be right where it doesn't feel like an but it feels like a heck yes. I'm not a really big proponent of like enthusiastic consent as a model because as an ace person, I will consent to things in an informed way that I'm not fully enthusiastic about, but I am okay with doing. So I prefer like affirmative consent or informed consent because I think those are more important than everything always being a like heck yes only ever, because that's not like realistic for most people's lives. But I think for like a first time activity, enthusiastic consent is maybe like where it makes the most sense. Is like if you're going to be doing anything ever for the first time, you should probably really want to be doing it. But that's my opinion. So I think maybe try to figure it out. Is it the activity? Is it the person? And then for activities, try to come up with other things that maybe you're more like yes about. Like it could be wax play, it could be role play, pet play, a spanking scene. It could be a service thing. It could be, you know, kneeling for somebody or putting on bondage equipment or trying out rope bondage. Like maybe it just is I think oftentimes people that haven't done BDSM yet, they have a very particular idea of what a scene looks like. It might be beneficial for you to like go to a local BDSM dungeon, watch a scene or two, and I think most dungeons that I've been to, you will discover very quickly that most of them are like lighthearted, not very serious, playful in nature, not like super duper I am your dom and I will be doing this to you now and you must do this and blah, blah, blah. Like yes, that can happen, and those can be scenes that happen, and you will see them. But I think for the most part, especially in public, you will see scenes that are very like, you know, friends hanging out and then being like, hey, I have this new toy. Do you want to try it? And then they go and try it, and it's fun, and it's like not this overwrought, overplanned, you know, it has to be the best thing ever. I mean, honestly, maybe that's one way of thinking about it too, is it's sort of like putting a lot of pressure on your first time having sex and like losing your virginity. Like, pretty much all the time, your first time having sex will not be the best time you have sex. I think there are some people that are very ejaculation focused that will maybe disagree with that because maybe the sensation of the first time somebody else touches your penis maybe is the best time ever. But for the majority of people, contextually, the act itself, everything around it, the performance of it, how you emotionally feel afterwards, all that stuff, not just like the, you know, not just the coming part of it, but all the other parts of it. You will discover that the sex portion of the event will, you know, the actual full act, not just the moment of ejaculation, will get better over time. And it's not the best time you ever do it. Okay, question from Alex. I have a friend who went down the NoFap rabbit hole. How do I lead him to a healthy addiction specialist and not some toxic, problematic form online? Okay, good question. I'm going to pause that one for a second because I want to finish this thought and then I'll get to that one. A little bit outside my scope of knowledge, but I will try to respond to it as best as I can. Okay, so as I was saying with... What was I talking about? I was talking about... Oh, yeah, like your first BDSM scene. So the first time you do BDSM, it's not going to be the best time ever. You're still really learning about negotiation, communication, how you act during a scene, how you respond, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. All of that information you don't typically already have. And so I would think about it like, we're going to do a really basic, simple scene. It's going to be riding a bike with training wheels. It's going to be very,
username
like,
donated $5.
low-key,
After this donation,
basic,
you should be $5 closer to
ever.
decorating your room.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate the donation. Yes, we are very close to the room decoration fund. I have been thinking for a really long time what I want to decorate in this room and like what I want to put in here. I think what I want to do is I want to have like a cozy chair back there. And then I want to have like one of those lighted trees, you know, the ones that look like they have flowers on them. And I think I want to put more like maybe some like fake butterflies or something. And then like I want to replace these curtains with like heavier velvet curtains. I think it'll give it like a more cozy environment, bring out the purple more in the pink color. But I appreciate it. Thank you. So hopefully that gives you a sense of like what to expect. I think just like maybe trying to let go of maybe any anxiety you have or worry you have about like it has to be the best scene ever. Like, don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just make it super simple. Make it something that feels fun, that feels you want to go and try and do it and realize you're just experimenting. You're just trying it out. You're just giving it a taste. You're not, you know, it's like you might really, really want to have, you know, this flavor of ice cream, but you're like sure you're going to like it yet. So you get a sample, right? You're like, I think I probably want to have 3 scoops of this honeydew melon, but I've never had honeydew melon ice cream, so maybe I won't really like it. So just have a little sample, try it, swirl it around your mouth, go, that's what honeydew melon ice cream tastes like. Okay, now I know. And then you can commit to like the bigger amount of ice cream that maybe you originally thought you wanted but weren't really ready for yet. NoFap is the CrossFit of male sexuality. Oh my god. Okay, so that's such a statement. It's like I like it shouldn't make sense, but like somehow it does, and I can see that. So I really appreciate that you want to help your friend through what I imagine is probably like a hard time and a bad rabbit hole. I think a lot of people go down that pathway, especially like NoFap, because they are not given proper sex or relationship education at a young enough age. They are not given enough support by their community emotionally. They find a place online that is going to validate them and is going to emotionally support them. And then they aren't typically in school given the critical thinking skills they need to be able to rationally assess things like, you know, semen retention or the male-female relationship dynamics or alpha male bullshit of any flavor, really. And I don't, like, I know that addiction therapy and addiction treatment, that's like its whole own separate thing. Like, there's a lot of models for dealing with addiction and, like, occult deprogramming for that matter, too. And I don't really know enough about that because I've never gone through that. I don't know anyone personally who's gone through that process of, like, recovery, addiction, cult deprogramming, anything like that. So I can't really direct you towards any specialist that might help. I think I would probably, oh, thank you for the donation. I would probably, I would maybe direct them towards like maybe other healthier communities that have better ideas. Like I know if they're a Redditor, there's healthier communities on Reddit. There is, what is this, like Healthy MGTOW or something? There's some sort of like what is it, like there's some kind of, what the fuck is the purple pill? I don't even, okay, I don't want to know what that is. I know that there's maybe there's male mental health. That's maybe a good one to go to because that's like a positivity focused, supportive, and non-judgmental environment. That could be a good one. It's in the top 5% of Reddit subreddits, so that's probably a good sign there. Okay, interesting question. Why all of a sudden would a little who's never worn diapers start wetting themselves on purpose? Do you think that could be situational? Are you talking about yourself or like somebody you know? Because I feel like I need more information about the context of this. Is this like, okay, they're doing it on purpose. Is it like a sexual thing? Is it a fetish thing? Is it like I want to play a younger age when I'm doing kink stuff? Like I need more information about that, but I have some theories. NoFap is something that super straight alpha male jerks who are into MAGA, Great Awakening. Oh god, I haven't heard Great Awakening in a long time, but yeah, that definitely too. Slash QAnon, New Age cult bullshit practice. Yes, that's definitely. I don't think it used to be that way. I feel like I got adopted and co-opted by that. I feel like I remember in high school, because this is like before Trump being elected and everything. I remember when I was in high school, like NoFap being like, because No Nut November was a thing. Like that was like the trend I remember, where it was just like a silly challenge that people did, and then suddenly it devolved into like this weird pseudo scientific, you know, just cesspool of misinformation. Maybe is the best way to say it in a short enough fashion, and I am not really sure when that transition happened, but I think directing them towards healthy resource. I also really like, there's a YouTube channel by a person called Dr. K. It's called either GG Gamer. I think it's actually Gamer GG. And he has a ton of really good videos. I don't agree with everything that he says. He has some stuff about like Dharma and like more Ayurvedic like inspired things that I don't like. I'm not really on board with, but like maybe it resonates with other people and like other cultures, and it's not really my place to judge that too much. But I don't agree with everything he says. There's a lot of good videos talking specifically to men online, men with mental health issues, men that have trouble being motivated, feeling seen, being validated emotionally, finding healthy communities, all of that stuff. That's another really good resource if you like watching YouTube videos. I don't think he has anything that's like debunking like alpha male discourse, but like honestly, there are so many videos on YouTube of people that are like really funny, like good people like Noah Samson or or Chad, or who else am I thinking of? That's like a male streamer. There's like just so many, or like Nick is not green, or green is not Nick. All really good people that like make videos in different flavors and types of people that will, make videos like that. Okay. I will not be answering that one because it's a little too aggressive. I appreciate the donation. My opinion on anyone, any flavor of sissy, male subs, diaper people, not my kink. Glad you have your kink. Do it in a healthy way with consenting partners, and more power to you if you're an adult doing it in adult spaces. That's sort of the long and short of my opinion on that one. Okay, I need to do my eyeliner now. So I will be answering the other super chat about the other diaper question, and then we're gonna move on to doing eyeliner, okay? Because that's the Evie Lupine stream experience, is we talk about diaper kinks and we do eyeliner. That is what we do on this channel. So eyeliner, no, not eyeliner, no, diapers. I feel like, okay, let me scan and just see if there's any other things I should know about this situation, because I did ask for like more context, because I feel like I don't have the full answer at this point in time. Okay, I'm gonna scroll here in a second. Thank you all so much for the super chats today. Like, what the heck? Like, thank you. Totally not necessary, but I really appreciate it. Someone does not know the vibes. That is accurate. Like, I don't want to punish anyone for not knowing the vibes, but like, I'm not a miss, I'm not a mistress, I'm not a dom, I'm not gonna dom you. Like, you're barking up the wrong tree, my friend. Okay, I didn't, it's myself and it's not sexual. Okay. I'm kind of thinking it's a little bit of a clash with my little world and adult world, which I don't usually have a problem with. Oh, okay, so you're saying, like, okay, so you haven't worn diapers, but, like, even not in little space, like, you're wetting yourself on purpose? I mean, I feel like adult bedwetting and self-wetting, I feel like that's normally connected to, like, something psychologically happening. I would imagine it's some kind of, like, control or anxiety-related thing. So, like, if you've been having a lot of, like, work stress, relationship stress, maybe even something with like self-expression with your kink side going on, feeling really overwhelmed, and you're saying it's on purpose. So I'm assuming you don't have any kind of like I can't help myself, it's happening anyways type things. If that is happening and you are having issues controlling your urinary patterns, please go see a doctor, see a urologist, see a pelvic floor physical therapist. There are very common issues that a lot of people experience with holding their bladder as an adult. It could be a lot of things. It could end up being very serious. It could be anything from like a UTI to like bowel cancer. I don't want to freak anyone out, but like please take it seriously. If you have health issues that are unexplained, that you're trying to not have happen, but happen anyways, that's very different from like I'm voluntarily doing this and I have complete control over doing it. If you're voluntarily doing it, part of the reason why I think it could be stress related is I imagine that based on what I know about people that are like into ABDL and like diaper wetting, a lot of people do that because it's like a sense of like release and relief and not having to control this one thing all the time, and that can be really good. And so people that I think have high stress, maybe that already maybe don't do that, but maybe could be open to doing it, start doing it. But I don't know, it's so complicated. Such a complicated potential issue with that. I mean, yeah, I think it could be situational. I think I would probably investigate maybe sort of like, what's my mental health been like? How has my week been? What's been going on? Is it connected to anything? Like, try to really evaluate. Like, honestly, I would keep a diary about it. Like, I'm a big proponent of like, if you're struggling with something and you can't figure out what's happening, why do I feel the way that I'm feeling? Why am I doing this one behavior I don't want to be doing? Why am I not doing something I want to be doing? Keep a diary about it. See if you can figure out any correlations with your thought patterns, with your feelings, your stress level, diet, sleep, activity happening around that moment when it's happening. Like, figure out what's going on there. I think that will give you a lot of insight into what's happening in your brain. Because I don't know, because I'm not in your brain. But your brain has all kinds of little hidden information in there. And if you just plumb down deep enough into what your brain's telling you, you're going to figure it out. Oh, thank you for the donation. Just adding for
Nathan donated $25.
I appreciate it.
Just adding to the donation dog pile
really
for good luck.
My dog is still being very cute, in case you wanted an update about it. That makes a lot of sense. I will keep a diary and nod to it. Yes. Okay. Good. You already keep one. Keep up the good work. I think that's going to really help you. It's definitely not medical. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully that helps give you some thoughts about it. Honestly, I know there are some forums for ABDLs and littles that I think are still active. You might want to ask them too, because I'm not a little, so I don't have any personal experience with this, but I think that they might, you never know. Somebody could have a similar situation they've gone through. Again, my experience tells me that a lot of people who are littles, they tend to age regress farther back the higher their comparative adult life stress is. So if you're feeling pretty good adult-wise, you got everything under control, work's good, life's good, dating's good, probably not going to be necessarily, if you have an age range you go back to. This isn't saying everyone who goes back to being an infant or bedwetting or whatever, like, is like, permanently it has high anxiety or something. I'm just saying, like, if you normally age regress to like, or age play, or just your little side or whatever it is, if you go back to like 4 or 5 and then suddenly you're acting like 1 or 2, that usually I've seen mean that somebody is like, they've got, they really need to get away from brain thoughts and they're trying their best to cope with that, because it oftentimes is a coping mechanism for people. I have brat vibes. What do you mean I have brat vibes? I mean, me saying that makes me sound like a brat, but I'm not a brat. You can ask any of my partners. They will tell you that I am not a brat. The most bratty I get is when I go, no. But that's on my pet side. When I do that, if I go, no, that's my dog side spinning around in my head and barking. Like, that's in my head. I'm spinning around and going, I don't want to do that. I'm a dog. Bark. Like, but I can't really bark because I'm a human, and so I just say no instead. But that's the brattiest I get, is if I say no. But usually it's in like a playful, fun way. I'm not literally trying to like break a rule or anything. Okay, fuck. Have I forgotten any super chats? Have I not? I feel like I'm missing answering something. Have I gotten to everything? Okay, I think I've gotten to everything. Okay, so we're going to do the eyeliner now, okay? We're going to do the eyeliner. So bear with me here. I'm going to move some stuff around here to make room for the eyeliner, because the eyeliner takes space. We're going to just do very simple, like half wing, nothing too crazy. I've really been, I want to get some like half lashes, because I'm really into the like half, I think that really would work for my eye shape. Half eyeliner, half lash look. Everyone I see do it, I think it just looks really good. Because like, you know, a really big, bold strip lash, it makes a statement. Is it the statement I always want to be making every day, every eye look? Probably not. And I cannot explain to you how I do my eyeliner. It's purely vibes based. I mean, I do actually have a system, which I will explain as I'm doing it on my other eye. That's basically it. That's basically one eye. There you go. Eyeliner time. Whoop whoop. I really like that. That was like, okay. I think I do really like having the like half liner look. I think is good. It's a good option for me. Your dog. Does your dog a dog side knows how to people talk? Sometimes. Sometimes. Depends how dog mode I am. Fully dog mode, no. Half dog mode, which is my normal state. My half dog mode is it knows how to say people words, but only like simple words. She knows how to say like no, and yes, and like probably a couple other things. What do I normally say? It's usually like no, yes, or like usually about wanting something. That's really the extent. Very simple vocabulary here. We're dealing with like parakeet level vocabulary. So who's to say that just because I can say words as a doggo doesn't mean I know what I'm saying? Oh gosh, yeah. Do the amazing eyeliner dance. Okay, it's very simple. Like, and I know people are into the eyeshadow liner look, but I just can't. I just feel like I need the bold. I need the boldness. I need the statement. All right. I'm gonna very quickly check my phone here, so I make sure that that the date plan hasn't changed at all. Alright, things are good. Alright, eyeliner part 2. Alright, this one, where do I want to hook? Too many, okay. Pack things up here, move some stuff around. Alright, you can see the reflection of my whole room in the mirror. It's great. Okay. Does that work? I don't know if okay. I'm gonna try it here and we'll just go with it. Okay, I think I actually need the mirror to be closer. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I do is I place the line across my lash line, however far I want it to go. Then I go from the inner corner of my outer tear duct, so like here, and then I draw a line up to like whatever height I want it to be at, like whatever level of steepness, you know, rise over run, like in what was that, algebra 2, whenever we did graphing. Oh, the memories. I usually try to make sure it's vaguely similar to like whatever I've done on the other eye, and then I go from, I'll clean it up with my pinky finger a little bit. Make it a little bit more even. And then I will go from the tip I've just drawn, close my eyelid, and then go back towards my eye. Okay, that one was like, kind of a chunky boy. I'm a chunky boy than a wing there, which like is a cute look. I like the chunky wing look. Much easier to add more than take away. I think I'm probably, this eyeliner pen is kind of dying, so it's hard for me to get like a really sharp tip on it, but we will see. Alright, I think I'm going to go back through and I'm going to like thicken this one up a little bit. Alright, I think that's the eyeliner done. We are done on the eyeliner, folks. Okay, so just because I have my mirror in front of me like this, I'm going to find a question and then... Okay, what time is it again? Okay, I have 15 minutes. I was like, oh god, running out of time rapidly. We will get to as many questions as I can. I also need to put on mascara and curl my lashes and put some stuff on my eyebrows. So we got a couple more steps we got to do, and then we got to find a lip. So can we do all this in the next 15 minutes? We will try. We will try our best. No, I'm legally still a miss, but being called a miss by random people on the internet, I think, okay, let me scroll up YouTube, thank you. Thank you, YouTube. Have you listened to the psychosocial baby one? If not, it needs to be a priority. It works way too well. Oh, it's like the song mashup? Oh god, I probably listened to that when it came out, but I have no memory of that, like, in my brain of, like, what it actually was like specifically. This makeup finish is so good on my skin right now. I'm obsessed. Alright, I'm looking for a question actively. My partner and I are 27 years apart in age, and it's made us nervous. Oh, you guys can't hear me because my fucking... Sorry! I was about to fully start talking. Okay, I was like, why is my audio level so much quieter? It's because the fucking microphone's like 50 feet away, dummy. Okay, sorry. I was looking for questions. My partner and I are 27 years apart in age, and it's made us nervous about going to meetups in the community. Any advice? I would say it really depends on your local community, so I can't make any definitive statements. But in my experience, age gap relationships, especially older dom, younger sub relationships, any gender combination, doesn't matter. 2 men, 2 women, man and woman, non-binary people, agender people, doesn't matter. All of the above. It's very common for there to be, especially an older dom, younger sub relationship. I've even seen ones with older subs, younger doms. That happens too, less commonly, but it does happen. So I don't think within the community, if you're the younger partner and you're going to a TNG event, which stands for the Next Generation. It is an event or events designed for people that are 35 and under to join the community with other people that are in a similar place in their life. And if you're 30 and your partner is 57, you know, that might be a little bit awkward just because you're already on the older end of that scene and that space to begin with, and your partner is way, way older, but it doesn't have to be awkward. I would say the average age in the community is already people in like at least their late 30s. Like I would say the younger average age range is typically like older 30s, and the average is typically mid 40s, mid 50s, late 50s, somewhere around there. So it's not at all unusual for people to be on like second marriages, divorced, have a new younger partner. You know, that's very common, and so most people are not really going to make too big of a fuss about it. Now, online, on FetLife, people maybe will make a stink about it, but I think together in person at most events, going to meetups, most people are like, it's not going to be anything because, you know, I have had age gap relationships pretty much the entire time I've been in the community. People that are 10 plus years older than me the entire time I've been in the scene, and no one has ever made any kind of comment about it that I'm aware of. So it's not the level of age gap that you have, but I think just going off of my experience and people that I know, I don't think it'll be a problem. Oh my god. Humans, typologically speaking, are a donut with 7 holes. Oh yeah, because of the, like, is that what's it, geometry? What the fuck is that? Yes, you did just hear my Big Fat Greek Wedding quote. I love that movie. It's so good. Such a good movie. Question. As for impact or polyamory, how do you handle contraceptives? Seems like a lot of people in the community do it. I mean, if you're a person who has a vagina and you have sex with a penis, you generally need, well, sort of like, okay, there are barrier methods where the intention is to not spread STIs, and then there's barrier and birth control methods that are designed to prevent that or pregnancy. And at bare minimum, I think most people in the poly community, we are trying not to give everyone that we know chlamydia, gonorrhea, worse things than that. And it's very, very common. And it's not because people are slutty and sleep around or bad, dirty people. It's just so common. I'm seriously, if you live in a big city or your state, go to your state health records and figure out what percentage of the population in your state has chlamydia or gonorrhea or has ever had it, because I promise you it's probably higher than you're expecting it to be. And the problem is these infections are oftentimes silent. You don't know you have them, you have no symptoms, but you spread them to other people, and at some point down the line, it can become symptomatic for some people. And so it's very important to have regular testing at minimum. Most people that I know, they will have maybe an anchor partner they have kids with or like have known for 10 years, and they will not use barriers with that person, but other people they will use barriers with just to be on the safe side. Because again, chlamydia, gonorrhea, these are not just like getting the common cold. They can be silent, they can spread very easily, and you can end up with lifelong complications potentially from having these infections, especially when you don't know you have them because you don't have any symptoms. They can still cause problems. But I think as far as birth control methods are concerned, yes, if you are somebody that, you know, unless you've had like a bilateral self-injectomy, which is like tubes tied, right? You've literally had your fucking tubes lopped off and your partner's had a vasectomy. And that's very common. Like most people I know like especially in Portland, weirdly. Seattle, not quite so much, but in Portland, lots of people with vasectomies. Unless you've had like tubes tied, you know, lasered off, or your partner has a vasectomy, or you do, there's always going to be a pregnancy risk. Pull-out method doesn't work. Most people I know have some kind of thing around pill, patch, ring, IUDs, very, very popular. The implant like I have is also not quite as popular, but it's getting up there for younger people. And it's something that a lot of people do by default because, like, I don't know anyone in the poly community who wants a surprise punch bowl baby, which is an analogy I've just made up. A punch bowl baby is when more than one person contributed to that mix, you know? So most people don't want to have that happen. I just think that's good sense. And most people are going to have conversations about it. Now, people can be shitty about those conversations. People can say, you shouldn't have to see literally my STI results. That's a HIPAA violation. You should just believe me because I'm trustworthy, or my partner is trustworthy. You don't need to see the results. They're clean, right? Don't believe that, okay? I personally, my philosophy is, if you don't know someone very well yet, even if you do, to build that trust, they should be more than willing to share STI results, to be open and honest, to share even a history of results, to talk openly and honest about that. And, you know, at some point, it gets a little bit extreme. We're like, okay, do you really need to see your partner's results? Probably not. But, like, your immediate circle of people that are, like, who you're going to be having intercourse with, you probably want to see their results. I don't think it should be a big deal to share that or to talk about that. And then, yeah, barrier uses for other people, and then all that has to be negotiated. But people can be really shitty about it and be like, that's a violation of my boundaries. You're trying to control me because you're saying that in order to have sex, you have to have a condom. Like, it's like, fucking feels like a new agey way to be like, babe, I don't want to use a condom. Is that okay? Like, a lot of people will use any and all methods to avoid using a condom, and they will definitely pull out the, like, you're trying to control me by saying that in order to have sex, I have to use a barrier. And it's like, well, you know, this thing. Like, my line personally is, and this is something I've found to be, like, you know, reasonably able to be navigated, is I will say that I will only have sex if I have seen STI results of the people that I'm having sex with that are recent, current, you know, within the last year or so. Most people I know, like, just by default, even with that, will still use barriers. But for people that don't want to use barriers, I will then add in, you know, you can have sex with anyone you want to have sex with. But if you're going to be doing
Mr.
that...
Beansman donated $5. Had a bad drop a couple hours a scene last week. It was a new experience that I couldn't identify at the moment, and I could tell it made my partner a bit upset as dropping that soon after a scene normal.
I really ran into anyone that has a problem with that. And I think it's, like, very reasonable and defensible. Oh, sorry to hear that. Had a bad drop a couple hours after a scene last week. It was a new experience that I couldn't identify at the moment, and I could tell it made my partner a bit upset. Is dropping that soon after a scene normal? Yes. Everyone's different. Everyone's brain is different. Some people drop right afterwards. Other people, it takes hours, maybe even a day or two afterwards. So it's very, very normal, I would say. Especially for impact play, it's not uncommon for drop to be, like, right afterwards. Or especially if you're topping or being a dom, I think a lot of people that have top drop, it's right after a scene. All right, we are moving on to... unless there's some sort of ridiculous local outbreak, and then asking for extended polycule results could be reasonable depending. I mean, it just sort of, like, it gets into, like, suddenly you're asking for, like, 12 people's STI results. I don't think that's reasonable, but I think if it's, like, okay, if your partner, like, okay, here's my line, right? It depends on how many people are in the extended network. Because if it's, like, oh, like, I have STI results for you, but you and your partner combined are having sex with, like, 12 people, at that point, I don't, like, having your results is nice as, like, sort of an act of, like, I know that you care. Like, it's a sign of, like, I know that you care enough about this to get tested. But if your polycule network of, like, you have sex with your partner that your primary or whatever, they have sex with 12 people. You know, okay, that's great. I'm still going to be using a barrier because that's so many points of failure where all it takes is one person in that group to, like, lie about a test or not get tested or to, you know, have sex with the stranger unprotected and then get chlamydia and then no one else is using condoms because, well, we've all been tested, but then it takes 6 more months before anyone else gets tested and forgets like, like, it just... I don't want to risk it. I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't want to deal with all that. I have had enough gynecological issues in my fucking life so far, and I have never even had a kid yet. I do not want to be dealing with long-term STI bullshit on top of my already pre-existing bullshit. So I take kind of the tact of like, great, you know, I'm not expecting to see STI results from anyone you've ever had sex with, but if you're having sex with lots of people and you will have sex with anyone on the first date, you know, just by them saying, yeah, I've been tested and that's good enough for you, fine, you can do that, but I'm going to use barriers with you because that's my line. And I think, like, people that don't respect that are just, like, misunderstanding what a boundary is at that point. Like, sorry, can't really guilt me out of that one. By the way, the mascara I am using is I think I need a new one of this because it's kind of drying out a little bit. It is the Lash Paradise by L'Oreal Paris. Quite good. I think I've had it for almost a year, so it's kind of coming up on its expiry date, but it is a workhorse. Like, I don't know if you guys can really tell a difference yet, because it's not as noticeable on camera, but it is definitely noticeable to me in person, and that's what matters. Alright, do we have any other questions? Thanks for answering, Punchbowl Baby. Cover that I asked for with that question. The STI info and time frame to know, also sharing how it's common help. Yes, very common. I would say it's by far the default, you know, in my poly circles. I would say my line for testing is anytime I have a new partner, baseline, get new testing around that, and then after that point, every 6 months to a year is a good amount. And I know so many people that have gotten, like, chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes is really the big one. People that don't disclose their status, and then, like, they have unprotected sex with one person who has the thing, and then they have sex again with somebody else who doesn't have it, and then suddenly that person has herpes, and it's like, where'd the herpes come from? Well, turns out it came from the person that they just had sex with that had herpes and didn't tell anyone and never got testing. And, you know, just, God, it's like, is it really worth it? Like, as an asexual person, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't, like, how is it worth it? How on God's green earth is the 10 minutes of penetration worth having a lifelong infection? You know, how is it? I don't get it. It's not my thing. I just don't understand. I don't know if it's this lighting or what, but, like, the finish on this foundation today is just really rocking. I don't like, maybe it's because my skin's, like, kind of, like getting back to normal. And so I'm just, like, now my skin doesn't have, like, so much, like, acne all over it. I'm just like, oh, my skin finally looks normal again. I'm just happy about it. Okay, eyebrows. What time do we have? I have to leave at, like, exactly 7:30, but I'm trying not to, like, I want to be at the door before 8, ideally. Like, I would be 7:45 is, like, that'd be pushing it. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow gel thingy in ebony. It's the dip brow gel. That's what it is. The font on that was unbelievably small, but I'm very impressed I was able to read that. I just, you know, it's filling out ye olde eyebrows here. My eyebrows used to be unbelievably uneven, and they've gotten a lot better. But I do need to get them re-microbladed. But I am in the process of fading my existing microblading, and then we're going to redo it, and it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. It's very hard to do my eyebrows from this far away. I can't see what I'm doing at all. This is very difficult. I know it's not always detectable in a large part of the population. I'm specifically talking about people that know they have herpes and do not, like dodge getting tested for it and don't show it on their test results because, oh, well, you can't detect it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they know they have herpes, and then they don't tell the person they're having sex with that they have herpes because, well, you didn't ask if I did or not. And then they tell them afterwards, and then it turns out that their other partner that they also have sex with then has herpes. Like, that is literally the situation I'm talking about. Because I know, I'm very aware, because I literally get my blood tested all the goddamn time. I've been in Planned Parenthood all the time. I am very aware of the status of testing for all STI things. I am aware that testing for herpes accurately is very difficult, especially when you don't have an active infective outbreak. But people hide shit and they don't ask about shit. And if you don't ask, you might get an answer that you don't like later on when the answer is finally revealed. And that's kind of my point, is just, you know, make sure you ask, because if you don't, you might get an answer you don't want later. Do my eyebrows look like they are in the same family tree? Not quite. We're getting there, though. We're evening them up. Okay, that fixed it, I think. Alright, my eyebrows look related. We're good. Any of the herpes, because oral and genital herpes are basically mixed around now, because everyone's sucking everyone's genitals. So, both. Any herpes. Because they can occur anywhere on any of the things. They're not limited to one thing or the other. No contraception is 100% either, so it's hard to determine which method, but like Demi/Ace, you don't need impact to do play. Yeah. Hi, welcome to the stream from Italy. Glad you can make it, Italy. Are you surviving the heat over there in Italy? Oh my god. You don't have air conditioning, do you? In Italy? I've heard. I knew someone that went on vacation in Italy last summer, and it was like in the 90s, and they were dying. They were like, it's 32 degrees outside, centigrade, and I can't live. No one has air conditioning. It's just all the old people yelling at each other in the street, and then fanning themselves while sitting in a lawn chair. And that's Italy. That's all I know. I don't know if it's a legal reason thing. I wouldn't say that, but it's just good to know. Yes, they are interchangeable. All right, I think we're going to have time for like one more thought here. Yeah, that's exactly it. Also, if you have a penis and condoms don't work for you, it happens. You will need to be on top of testing and really should consider a vasectomy, yes. Vasectomies are a great modern invention. However, if you do want to have kids in the future, you know, I get why you wouldn't want to do it. Okay, color time. I think I want to do this color, which is royal. The other color I have is like a really true, like 50s red, and I think I want to do this one because it's a little bit of like a darker red color, and I think it's gonna look nice. But we gotta shake it, because this is the thing about these, is you gotta shake, 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 shake. Because otherwise they will not work. I don't know what it is about this formula, because pretty much whenever it says, oh, you gotta shake it, they don't mean it. They mean it. The formula don't work if you don't shake it. Yes, condoms are free at basically any clinic. Literally, I have gone to Planned Parenthood and I have picked up paper bags full of condoms. And I give them to people like the goddamn condom fairy. I sprinkle them everywhere. You're very easy to get all kinds of things at Planned Parenthood. They do lots of very good work there, and I genuinely support what they do. Yes, do not assume HRT has made you sterile. It could happen, but there's no time except for it. Yes, especially if you are a trans man. HRT does not make you sterile. It does not make you sterile. It's when, if you're a trans woman, a little bit of it also depends what HRT you're doing and a bunch of stuff. I won't speak over other trans people on this one, because I'm not trans. But from what I understand, like especially for trans men, if you're born with a vagina and you go on HRT and you take testosterone or other things like that, can definitely impact your fertility, or it might not. We don't really know. It's confusing, but so far, from what I understand, you just can't make any predictions on that. Okay, I think we've shaken it up enough. I should have made a joke about, like, I don't know, like, what's that song? Like, what is that? The shake, 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 shake it. You remember that song? That was like a big thing. Remember when that was a song? Yes, I really love, like, in terms of, like, what works really well, getting the Nexplanon was, like, so easy. So if you think you want something that's, like, long-acting, you think you want something like an IUD or, like, Nexplanon, the implant is, like, you get numbed up every time. It works really well. It's quick. It's easy. It lasts for 5 years. You get a little bit of a scar on your arm, but that's basically it. Like, basically the only reason I wouldn't recommend it is if, it's also, it's progestin only, which is also a pretty good advantage there too. Oh yeah, this is the color. This is the vibe. I'm getting Sri Lankan food. I'm so excited. I found a vegan Sri Lankan co-op. It's literally a cooperatively owned socialist Sri Lankan restaurant. What could possibly be more Portland? It's probably next to the communist bookstore too. Honestly, vegans do praxis. I don't know what it is. They live by their morals, I'll say that. Okay, and from what I remember about this, you're not supposed to, like, stick your lips together. You're just supposed to do one lip at a time. This is very exciting, I know. Alright, that's a good... Oh no, I did it by accident. Okay, hopefully I didn't screw it up. That's the lower lip. Alright. You just go out like this. That's it. Oh no, that's Taylor Swift. I'm not thinking of that one. This is like it's no, it's not from Beetlejuice. Oh god, I don't know what that. I have to look it up later. Oh, you're going through a rough breakup. I follow you since before you went through your breakup. How do you do it? Cut on my dog a lot. Find hobbies that I really enjoy. Lean into friends and family. Read a lot of books. Watch media you enjoy. Definitely invest in your self-care. And I don't know, it was really hard. Like when I went through I'm not going to talk about this too much in like specifics, but when I went through my big breakup that was like very public on YouTube, it was so hard, like also because it was public and because like people knew the relationship and made assumptions about it and were like, they just assumed all kinds of things. And like, even though like it was something that I wanted to have happen, I knew I was ready to move on from that relationship. It was like still painful to do the process of leaving. And it is so hard. It is so hard for a long time. Like I would say I didn't like fully work through it until like maybe like 6 months afterwards because the relationship was so long. And then even then, like I don't think I fully processed it for like maybe a year. But yeah, I spent a lot of time reading, doing things that I enjoyed, going back to old hobbies I hadn't been able to do for a while. I also moved, so I was very busy with like home decorating and getting into a new routine, going to the gym, taking dance classes, being physically active. Love that. Anything like yoga, cycling, movement, I think is really good. I'm not a gym bro or anything by any means, but I genuinely think the gym is like a really good place for like just going, having a space for yourself, by yourself, to just kick butt and feel better about yourself and your body and have a place to really focus. Oh god, I got it in my eyebrow. Oh no. Okay, crisis averted, I think, mostly. But yeah, that's what really helped me, but it took time. And that's like the big thing is like you can do all the right things. You can also, I read a lot of breakup books. I think that helped me particularly. I read, because I was poly and I still am, I read the Polyamory breakup book. There's a couple other ones I read too, but there's tons of books on Amazon. I don't know what would be available to you in Italian if you want to read in Italian, but there's a lot of like good books to read about like getting through a breakup and like processing that kind of emotional pain, and it's really helpful. It was hard. It was very hard. But it's worth it. It's worth the effort, I think. It's worth the effort. And you're very welcome. The gym saved my life after my toughest breakup. No joke. I mean, really, like, I'm not going to say, like, you know, the gym cured my cancer, but I haven't had cancer. But, you know, people get, like, really extreme with their claims about going to the gym, but it was really helpful. And I think, you know, I'm not saying to, like, go and, like, cardio your way out of shit. Like, take a Zumba class, take a yoga class, like, go lift weights, just, like, do something for you, you know? All right, shit, I gotta go soon. So, like, we're going to wrap up the lips here. Also, for people who want to see more from me, Twitter is slowly dying, which used to be my main social media platform, which is sad for me. I don't really like any of the Twitter alternatives. I'm not really big on any of them. I just don't think they're going to, like, I'm going to wait and see kind of what comes out in the wash. But I am going to be posting on Instagram stories. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I have a private account. It's ev.lupine, so like a period on your keyboard. It's ev.lupine. I think it should be linked either in the description of this or on my channel page or in a video. I also have a tweet about it on Twitter. So if you want to see rants and raves from me outside of videos and you want nice little informational text posts and like product recommendations, you want to hear about businesses I like kinky businesses that are really good, you can follow me on there. And you can read my stories. Because I'm too afraid to post, because I'm afraid if I post anything, they're going to find my account and they're going to delete me. Somebody's going to report me because they're going to be angry that 7 years ago I posted a photo and a collar, you know. Oh. All right, that's the look, that's the vibe. Here we go. I love this. This is like my favorite makeup look to do, is like nude lips or nude eyes, dark red lips. Sometimes I do red eyes and nude lips. That happens too. So there we go. That's the look, that's the vibe. All right. I don't know why people do what. I didn't. No, I did not. Whenever I break up with someone, I believe in a clean break. Doesn't matter how long the relationship has been, unless we have to coordinate life stuff like bills or like who gets what dishware. I just don't believe in, like, once you break up, unless it's like a very mutual, like, oh, we're in different places, we want different things, but I still like you as a person, let's be friends. That does not really happen in, like, my experience at least. But if it's like a breakup where it's like, I don't like you anymore, this is a bad relationship, this isn't working, I don't believe in, like, talking after that point, for the most part. Like, being friendly to be, because, like, the kink and poly communities are so small, you have to be on friendly terms, but outside of that, I'm not really interested. I think it makes it, especially, I mean, if you're going to do that, where I have found that works, if you do want to talk to people that you're, like, exes with or used to date, because you, like, really had a good connection, you want to be friends, I would have a month for, like, every year of the relationship where you don't talk as, like, a baseline. And then as you get to be more broken up and you get to live your own life as a single person, or, like, rearrange it however you're going to be rearranging it. Get settled as your new self outside your relationship with that person. And then you can start talking to them again and really evaluate if you really want that connection, because I think sometimes people do it to avoid feeling that they're actually broken up. When like that's reality and you got to face it. Thank you. I'm glad that you all appreciate the look. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday. We do these streams every Friday, usually not at this time. Okay, focus on me, camera. Thank you. I was focusing somewhere else. I don't know where I was focusing. So thank you all for being here. We do this every Friday at usually 6, but today a little bit early. We go until 8. I'm going to go now so I can go drive and make it on time, hopefully, unless there's traffic. And again, thank you all so much. I will talk to you all again soon.